Welcome to Outside the Box. I am your host, Margot. You're tuned into my Halloween special. We have left South Texas Urban Legends, and we're moving on to St. Francisville, Louisiana, the Myrtle Plantation. Now, rich in history and an extremely complex past, and considered to be one of the most haunted places in the United States, the Myrtle Plantation was built by David Bradford, who was a well-known attorney and played a prominent role during the Whiskey Rebellion. In favor of the farmers and distillers of Western Pennsylvania, David Bradford became more politically active during this particular rebellion. This is a tax protest that was put together by local farmers and distillers against the federal government for adding tax on whiskey production. Now, this particular rebellion is the very first event in history that the government began to implement tax on goods and services. So this is like a big deal. After orchestrating many meetings and protest events, David Bradford was causing a disturbance in the state of Pennsylvania. Once the word was out who was behind all the political turmoil, General George Washington and his militia of 13,000 forced Bradford out of Pennsylvania. So after being forced out of Pennsylvania, Bradford decided to move down south to St. Francisville, Louisiana. There he purchased land and planned to transform his land into a plantation. But during this transformation, he came upon a secret grave site, which was filled with the remains of the Tunica tribe. He then proceeded, of course, to dig them up, and he burned them. In 1820, Sarah Bradford married Clark Woodruff to help run the plantation. Who better than Clark? And Sarah Bradford is David Bradford's daughter. So he was already familiar with the ins and outs of the business. He himself was a massive slave owner. But Clark took special interest in one particular female slave, and this caused many deaths at the Myrtle Plantation. Now, Chloe worked inside the house, either in the kitchen or cooked or cleaned or helped Sarah take care of her and Clark's children. Clark began cheating on his wife with Chloe. He continued to sexually abuse her, and despite the favoritism, Chloe wasn't very fond of Clark. She didn't like what he was doing. In fact, she hated him. Chloe did everything she could to avoid him. Chloe, as well as other slaves, began to learn the routines of their masters, what they did first thing in the morning, pretty much their whole entire schedule, in order to avoid the abusive and unexpected encounters each of them would have with these slave owners. Being inside, it kind of worked in her favor because she was able to hear and see anything that was going on around her. The other slaves were physically beaten, but Chloe was subjected to both physical and sexual abuse. So Chloe decided to take their secret to a step further and begin listening through the walls to the Woodruff and Bradford family's private, conversations. By placing her ear on the wall, she would kind of like listen to see what was going on, and she was able to see, hear everything that was going on in the Myrtle home. The other slaves tried to warn Chloe, but she refused to listen. Because of her sneaky ways, Woodruff showed no mercy, and it became no problem with him punishing Chloe. Matter of fact, he cut her ear completely off, removing her left ear, which was the ear she used to eavesdrop. After the commotion settled, Woodruff, he began to regret chopping off her ear because he still had to be around her, and the sexual abuse did continue. By Chloe missing an ear, that wasn't appealing to Clark, so he gave Chloe a green scarf to help her flawed ear and ordered her to never take it off because he never wanted to see her without her ear. So he's like, you're going to wear this scarf and you're never going to take it off. So Chloe wanted revenge for what Clark Woodruff did to her. So Chloe poisoned the entire family, Clark's wife and his two daughters. It was going to be the daughter's birthday soon, and with Chloe holding a position in the kitchen, she decided to bake a birthday cake for the girls. Chloe knew everyone would have a slice, and this would be the perfect time to implement her plan. they would be finally free. She thought she was gonna like have this big deal. We're gonna free the slaves that day because she was gonna kill the whole family. The plan sounded good, but the other slaves knew something would go wrong. So once again, they told her not to do it. Chloe didn't care what they said. She had enough. They didn't understand what she was going through. So she went ahead and went through with her plan. Sarah Woodruff and her daughters became fatally ill and they eventually died. Unfortunately, Clark didn't eat a piece of the cake, so, you know, he didn't die that day. So now he was determined to find out what happened to his family. The other slaves told the truth about Chloe, what they had done, because none of them wanted to take the blame for her. As a result of Chloe's actions, one of the male slaves was ordered to hang her because Woodruff, he just couldn't stand to do it himself. After Chloe's murder, Clark disposed of her body in a swamp behind the house, hoping the alligators would eat her. It has been rumored that the spirit of this woman, Chloe, well, you assume it's Chloe, has been seen floating in the water on the Myrtle Plantation. Many other gruesome activities took place at the Myrtle Plantation after the death of Chloe, resulting in many other slaves losing their lives at the hands of Clark Woodruff. Along with the spirit of Chloe and many other vengeful spirits claimed to inhabit the land, 2 blonde girls, supposedly the daughters of Clark and Sarah, and a man that lost his life gambling later on the property, therefore making Myrtle's Plantation one of the most haunted places in America. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to my channel. Please subscribe to Outside the Box. Stay safe and informed.